Happy Friday, everyone. Today, what you will be doing is watching this video and completing a short poetry assignment. And when you're done, because it's Friday, please make sure that you've caught up on all your work for the week, that you've made sure you've finished all the assignments from Monday to now. If you are at home, you're doing the right thing. You're watching this video and you are completing your asynchronous work. If you're at school today, you are also watching this video since I am gone today. Like I said, I had some doctor's appointments and stuff that I needed to take care of. So thank you for following the directions and getting started with watching the video, which was the first step on your list on the board. So nice job. What you need to do today is make sure that when you're at school that you're being very kind and respectful to our sub. Make sure to tell him thank you, that he's taking the time to help me out and help you guys out with today's class. So be really respectful, help him out, and make sure that if he needs anything, that you guys are helping him out. He will be taking notes for me about which students are really helping him and which students are not helping him. So make sure that you are doing the best you can to be an awesome student, like I know you can be. All right, so let's get started with our lesson today. So we are going to read our final poem of this week, and this poem is called Hold Fast to Your Dreams. So think of the phrase, don't stop dreaming. When we have hopes and dreams, they're often about our future. So we're going to talk about in our poem today how to keep those dreams alive and talk about why it's important to dream. So think about how this could relate to yesterday's poem with Harlem. So to kick us off today, some of the important words that we're going to be going over are imagery, figurative language, second person point of view, and theme. So remember, imagery is just language that creates a mental picture by appealing to our senses of sight, touch, smell, taste, and hearing. Figurative language is anything from a personification, a metaphor, a simile, and these are effects that create meaning with language. Today's poem is going to be in second person point of view, and this is addressing a piece of writing directly to the audience. So using the second person pronoun of you, or you understand. We're going to see that a lot today in our poem. And then finally, you know it, you love it, theme is the main message that an author wants to communicate to a reader. So let's get started. So the strategy that we are going to be practicing today is asking and answering questions. It's really important that we're asking questions before, during, and after we read in order to help us understand something better. So before you read the poem, I want you to think about the title, Hold Fast Your Dreams. Based on this title, you might ask the following questions. What does the author mean by hold fast your dreams? What other advice does the author give throughout the poem? And what message is the author trying to send? As you read, you're going to look for the answers to your questions and jot down any new questions you might have. So don't just ask a question without an answer. Always make sure to follow up as you are reading. And after you read, think about the answers you have found. Also consider any questions that still remain unanswered. Sometimes we can't find the answers to our questions, and we have to ask ourselves, why is that? Are we asking the wrong types of questions, or should we be asking different questions? So let's learn a little bit about our poets. So Louise Driscoll wrote Hold Fast Your Dreams, and she was born in 1875 in New York. And she lived in other parts of New York where she worked as the head librarian for the public library. She first gained fame as a poet in 1914 with the poem Metal Cheeks, which described the impact of World War I, which we saw earlier on Tuesday. Our poem In Spite of War was also inspired by World War I as well. So over the course of her life, Driscoll wrote 2 books of poetry and a play, and she contributed poems to several magazines when she ultimately died in 1957. So we are going to read Hold Fast Your Dreams by Louise Driscoll. And as we read, remember to look for any words you do not understand, use context clues, and make sure to understand what you can do to figure out the definition. So whether that's using context clues or if you need to look up the definition of something, the great thing about being on a computer is you have a dictionary at your hands. So if there's a word you're unfamiliar with, I actually want you to stop the video and say define whatever word it is. All right, so let's get started. Hold Fast Your Dreams by Louise Driscoll. Hold fast your dreams. Within your heart, keep one still, secret spot where dreams may go. and sheltered so may thrive and grow. Where doubt and fear are not, oh, keep a place apart within your heart for little dreams to go. All right, we're going to read it one more time. Hold fast your dreams by Louise Driscoll. Hold fast your dreams within your heart. Keep one still, secret spot where dreams may go, and sheltered so may thrive and grow. Where doubt and fear are not, oh, keep a place apart within your heart for little dreams to go. All right, what words do you need to look up? Do you know what doubt means? Do you know what sheltered means? What about dreams? We've talked about dreams these last few days, but do you actually know what the definition of that is? So take a moment if you need to look up these words. All right, let's check our reading. Let's understand if let's check to see if we understand what this poem was about. But let's move my face for a second so you can read the questions. There we go. Perfect. So, what is the theme of Hold Fast Your Dreams? Is it that dreams are easily broken? Is it that dreams are very important and must be kept protected in a special place inside of you? Is it that dreams need to be practical and sensible? Or is that dreams don't matter all that much? Think about your answer for a second. Pick an answer and get it in your head. The correct answer is dreams are very important and must be kept protected in a special place inside of you. That is the correct theme of Hold Fast Your Dreams. All right, which of the following would best describe the speaker's view about dreams? Is it that they are tough? Is it that they are common? Is it that they are silly? Or is it that they're fragile? Take a moment, think of your answer. If you said that they are fragile, you are correct. She describes them as being fragile dreams. And then finally, from which point of view is Hold Fast Your Dreams written? Is it third person point of view? Is it second person point of view? First person point of view? And a point of view that changes over the poem? Which one do you think is the correct answer? And hint, hint, wink, wink, if you paid attention to our key definitions, you will know what today's point of view is. If you said second person point of view, you are correct. Nice job. All right, let's talk about the figurative language in this poem. So poets use figurative language to give power to their poetry. Figurative language can help the reader see an everyday event or subject in a new way or a different way. Personification, which we talked about at the beginning of the week, is a type of figurative language. When writers personify an object or idea, they give it human qualities. For example, let's look at this phrase, lightning danced across the sky. Well, can lightning actually dance? No, humans dance. But what is it trying to say about the lightning? It's saying that it's moving across the sky rapidly. That's what they're saying by dancing. So Driscoll uses this personification in Hold Fast Your Dreams when she says, keep one still, secret spot, where dreams may go and sheltered so may thrive and grow. Driscoll is giving human qualities to dreams in this verse, that dreams are like people and that they need to thrive and grow. So she's personifying the dreams. But she also uses alliteration. And remember, another type of figurative language is this tool of alliteration. Alliteration is when we have the repetition of consonant sounds at the beginning of words, like Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled pepper. That's the example I love to use because we can really see the p sound. So poets use alliteration to help contribute to the overall tone of a poem, and it also helps the verses flow and makes the poem easier to read. So let's look at these following lines. Keep one still, secret spot where dreams may go. Notice how in that first line, when it says still secret spot, this is an example of alliteration because the s sound at the beginning of the word, still secret spot, this is a repetition of that S sound, which stresses the feeling of secrecy. So let's talk about the overall meaning. As readers, we should always analyze the words a poet uses to determine the meaning of a poem. And word choice refers to the words a poet uses in order to get his or her meaning across. So let's look at the poem again. Hold fast your dreams within your heart. Keep one still, secret spot where dreams may go and sheltered so. May thrive and grow where doubt and fear are not. Oh, keep a place apart within your heart. Well, Driscoll's word choices help readers realize the meaning of the poem. Note in particular the lines within your heart and oh, keep a place apart. They stress how the place for dreams must be separate and isolated or alone. This way, dreams cannot come into any harm by other people. This poet believes that dreams are so important that they must not be affected by outside influences. So this contributes to our overall theme, and by analyzing the themes of a poem, readers can understand its meaning. So the theme of a text is the big picture message that the author wants to convey. We can figure this out by mainly looking at these simple ideas. By looking at the title, paying close attention to the first few lines and the last few lines, and thinking about the poet's overall tone. So Driscoll's theme is described in both the title, but actually also in the first line of the poem of Hold Fast Your Dreams. By analyzing the title and opening line and identifying the tone, readers can determine that the central idea is the importance of holding on to one's dreams. So let's ask ourselves another check your reading question. So what is the correct definition of the word still as used in context of the poem? So practicing our context clues. Keep one still, secret spot. Does this mean as before? Does it mean peaceful? Does it mean nevertheless or without motion? Think about your answer for a second. All right, now the two answers that you probably were trying to choose between is peaceful and without motion. So let's break down those two answers for a second because only one is right. While someone can be still, also another word for this is peaceful. We could think of that as a synonym, but we need to think about how it's used in this context. So if we also think of without motion, someone who's not moving is also still. So if both of these answers are right, which one's most right for this response? Well, let's think about what they're talking about. What is keeping still? It's the dreams. So can dreams move around? No, but a dream can be peaceful. So the correct answer is peaceful. All right, now let's look for lines that hold personification. Remember, personification is when we give human qualities to something that isn't a human. So if we reread the response, hold fast to your dreams within your heart. Keep one still, secret spot where dreams may go, and sheltered so. May thrive and grow where doubt and fear are not. Oh, keep a place apart within your heart for little dreams to go. Look for the example we talked about in class of the personification. I'll give you a couple seconds to do that. All right, if we look at this where they may thrive and grow, remember we're talking about how the dreams have human qualities of growing and thriving. This is a personification. All right, and if the central idea in Hold Fast Your Dreams is about keeping your dreams safe, let's select a line that has to deal with the central idea of this poem. So give you a minute to look for lines that support that central idea. If you're looking at this poem, a line that contributes to the overall idea of keeping your dreams safe. When we look at the line where doubt and fear are not, this is an example of how the central idea is about keeping your dreams safe. The reason why we want our dreams to grow and thrive and keep them away is because we do not want doubt and fear to creep in. So today you are going to be writing your own poem. We've been learning about poetry all week and it's National Poetry Month. So I wanted to give you another opportunity. We did this at the beginning of the year, but we're going to do this again now to model a poem after a poem we have read this week. So at the beginning of the year, we read Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, and I asked you to come up with a modeled poem that looks and sounds like the first poem, but it has new ideas. So we went over this example about how Stopping by Snowy Woods had this rhyme scheme, and it talked about nature, and so we had to come up with a poem that resembled that. So we came up with the example of thunder rumbles through the air, breathe in the cold, wet air. I laugh in the face of the storm as the charge of the air raises my hair. The words are different, the topic is different, but it still deals with nature, still has the same line scheme and structure and theme. So you are going to do the same thing with today's poem, or with a poem from this week. So let's take a moment, though, first to remind ourselves about what makes a poem. So we're going to watch this short YouTube clip.
Muhammad Ali spent years training to become the greatest boxer the world had ever seen, but only moments to create the shortest poem. Ali captivated Harvard's graduating class in 1975 with his message of unity and friendship. When he finished, the audience wanted more. They wanted a poem. Ali delivered what is considered the shortest poem ever. Me, we. Or is it me, we? No one's really sure. Regardless, if these two words are a poem, then what exactly makes a poem a poem? Poets themselves have struggled with this question, often using metaphors to approximate a definition. Is a poem a little machine, a firework, an echo, a dream? Poetry generally has certain recognizable characteristics. 1. Poems emphasize language's musical qualities. This can be achieved through rhyme, rhythm, and meter, from the sonnets of Shakespeare to the odes of Confucius to the Sanskrit Vedas. 2. Poems use condensed language, like literature, with all the water wrung out of it. 3. Poems often feature intense feelings, from Rumi's spiritual poetry to Pablo Neruda's Ode to an Onion. Poetry, like art itself, has a way of challenging simple definitions. While the rhythmic patterns of the earliest poems were a way to remember stories even before the advent of writing, a poem doesn't need to be lyrical. Rainer Doll's Apfel and Eugen Gomringer's Silencio toe the line between visual art and poetry. Meanwhile, E.E. Cummings wrote poems whose shapes were as important as the words themselves, in this case, amplifying the sad loneliness of a single leaf falling through space. If the visual nature of poetry faded into the background, perhaps we'd be left with music. And that's an area that people love to debate. Are songs poems? Many don't regard songwriters as poets in a literary sense, but lyrics from artists like Paul Simon, Bob Dylan, and Tupac Shakur often hold up even without the music. In rap, poetic elements like rhyme, rhythm, and imagery are inseparable from the form. Take this lyric from the Notorious B.I.G. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek. Your heartbeats sound like Sasquatch feet, thundering, shaking the concrete. So far, all the examples we've seen have had line breaks. We can even imagine the two words of Ali's poem organizing in the air. Me, we. Poetry has a shape that we can usually recognize. Its line breaks help readers navigate the rhythms of a poem. But what if those line breaks disappeared? Would it lose its essence as a poem? Maybe not. Enter the prose poem. Prose poems use vivid images and wordplay, but are formatted like paragraphs. When we look at poetry less as a form and more as a concept, we can see the poetic all around us. Spiritual hymns, the speeches of orators like Martin Luther King Jr., JFK, and Winston Churchill, and surprising places like social media. In 2010, journalist Joanna Smith tweeted updates from the earthquake in Haiti. Was in B-room getting dressed when heard my name. Tremor. Ran outside through sliding door. All still now. Safe. Roosters crowing. Smith uses language in a way that is powerful, direct, and filled with vivid images. Compare her language to a haiku, the ancient Japanese poetic form that emphasizes bursts of brief intensity, with just 3 lines of 5, 7, and 5 syllables. The waters of poetry run wide and deep. Poetry has evolved over time, and perhaps now more than ever, the line between poetry, prose, song, and visual art has blurred. However, one thing has not changed. The word poetry actually began in verb form, coming from the ancient Greek poiesis, which means to create. Poets, like craftsmen, still work with the raw materials of the world to forge new understandings and comment on what it is to be human in a way only humans can. Dartmouth researchers tested this idea by asking robots to pen poetry. A panel of judges sorted through stacks of sonnets to see if they could distinguish those made by man and machine. You may be happy to know that while scientists have successfully used artificial intelligence in manufacturing, medicine, and even journalism, poetry is a different story. The robots were caught red-handed 100% of the time.
So, like I said, you will be writing your own poem, and you have 2 options for today's poem. Either you can just model a poem after a poem that we have used this week, and you can just match the structure, theme, tone, and topic, or a combination of those things. Or if you're like, that seems complicated, you can follow a guided poem prompt to help craft your poem. So today's assignment looks like this. You have 2 options. You can pick option 1, where you put your name, and then you click on this link right here to look at this week's poems, and you pick one poem that you want to model after. So you would type right here whatever poem it is that you want to model, whether that's Harlem, In Spite of War, The Colossus, you choose. And then you're going to tell me what is your topic and theme you're going to be talking about. Is it going to be just the same? Is it going to be slightly different, kind of like with Stopping by Woods on a Snowy Evening, where we took a snowy evening and then we changed it to a rainy evening? So tell me what your topic and theme of your poem is, and then you're going to insert your title here and write your poem down below. If that doesn't sound good to you, you can also do the second option, where you can pick an item or object from your life, like a diary, your favorite food, a sport item, a utensil, literally anything. And then you are going to answer these questions in clear descriptive lines using adjectives to paint an overall picture. So you can describe what it looks like. You can describe what it smells like. You can describe what it sounds like, what it feels like, and describe an experience of you using or experiencing the item. And then you're going to copy and paste these descriptions below, and you're going to tell me in the title what that item is. So in your actual poem, you're not going to say what it is at all, but in your title, you'll tell me what the item is, whether you're describing a spoon or a book or a hair straightener. Really, you can choose anything. So make sure that you choose one of those options, and when you're done, hit the turn in button. And then when you're done with that, if you're in person, if you're in the classroom right now, you can work on something for another class or finish an item that you have not finished this week. And then you can silently read if you don't have either of those. And then if you're at home, make sure that you've turned in all of your items for this week, and then have a good weekend. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, and be good for the sub. Thank you, guys.